Here we go. Oh, yep. And we're live. Excellent. Hello. Oh, Craig, a pre-shardy Roussan. That sounds rather lovely. How delicious. Craig wins the prize. Hello, Craig and Karen and Joan. Hello, David. And I'm sure Fiona's there somewhere. Hello, Paul and Roz. Lovely to see you guys. What a weird couple of days we've been having down here. It's been hot again, and last night was so steamy. Oh, hello, Fiona. I was all ready for a Chardonnay today, and it was cool all day, and now it's just got a little bit steamy again at night. We're getting these kind of steamy evenings, which is a bit unusual around this part of the world. Hello, Anne. Lovely to see you. Ooh, scallop Mornay pies. How delicious. That sounds like a pretty good match as well. Okay, so I've got my fish and chips are being prepared for me in the kitchen. Polly's out there barking at Jill for her dinner. I'm not sure what's going to happen first, dinner or fish, but who cares? I've got wine and I'm in here. Hello, Kay. Whiting and chippies. How delicious. Well, let's get on to Jeff and Sue. Hi, good to see you. I've just pulled this out of the wine fridge, and what a difference a week makes. This feels really cool at 12 degrees this week, whereas last week everything felt a little bit warm. So maybe the wine fridge was struggling too. So we've got the Moorooduc Estate 2012 Chardonnay. There we go. You'd think I'd know where the camera was by now. Hello, Connie and John. Hello, Emily and Kevin. Fish and chips from the local. Excellent. Well, I've got fish and chips from my local as well, which is Jill. She makes the best fish and chips. Hello, Polly. Are you in a state, are you? Polly's been for a swim. Paul, say hello to everyone. Good girl. She needs a bath and a brush and a wash and a haircut. But most of all, she needs some dinner. Shell's back. Hi. Joan's gone with cheese and bacon mini quiches. Yum. Shell, you and Andrew must have are you back or are you streaming us live from Las Vegas? You didn't win the jackpot. That's bad luck. Well, glad to have you back. Welcome home. It all looks rather wild on your social medias. Lots of fun. Okay, 2012 Chardonnay. Dunk. Let's get this open. Let's get some wine in the glass. Oh, it's a bit of a tight. You'll like this. I had to, because we were so short of these wines, I had to write a little note on the back because I was worried that this would not make it to week 4 if I didn't put a note on the back saying, please don't drink. So Richard has been very restrained because he's the only other person who goes into the wine fridge besides me. So it's between him and me, really, basically. He's managed to leave this wine for us to drink tonight. Hello, Sonia. How lovely to see you. Did you hear that? You didn't hear it because he's too far away, but he said there's nothing else for him to drink in the fridge. So he's had to not drink anything at all for the last 3 weeks, which is terribly sad. So I'll just pop this over here and he can come and get himself some 2012 Moorooduc Estate Chardonnay. We have, hello, Sarah and all the tricks. Good to see you. I know, Megan, really sad. Megan's feeling sorry for you, Dad, after she's had a lovely day off. Welcome to Drinks with Kate, Megan. I'm sorry that we didn't get a bottle of this wine into your hand, but we'll do a little bit better for next week, hopefully. Craig, this one tastes a little older than last week. Well, we will talk about that because I think that's a very interesting comment already. And Shell, we would like to know if you saw Elvis. Or a really good Elvis impersonator. So 2012 Chardonnay versus 2011 Chardonnay that we tasted last week. So if you'll remember, 2011 was a really weird vintage with lots of rain, not a lot of sunshine, difficult ripening season, and it took a lot longer to get flavour into the wine in 2011. So the fruit was on the vines for probably about a month longer than it usually would be to get ripe. So yes, Cotty, the nose here is very different from the 11 in the 2012. 2012 was a really beautiful classic vintage. We love 2011. It's absolutely like that, Fiona, much more buxom, absolutely. More curves to this wine, for sure. Shell, did you take on the sphere, a wonder of the modern world? Oh, Craig. I've got to get myself to Las Vegas. I still haven't been there, although there are other places that I need to go first. So this wine was from a much more classically beautiful vintage when the wines were young. We've loved 2012 as a vintage for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir for a long time. It's really interesting looking at it now. It does look more developed. It looks more more evolved than the 2011, and I think that that's part of the wonder and the issue of 2011, that it was a very unusual vintage, and that those wines took a really long time to start evolving and start doing the thing. Alison, yours is looking lemony. Mine is looking a little bit golden. I think it's also the light in here and the fact that I've got brown behind it. So if I put something a little bit whiter behind it, it still looks pretty gold. It is. Polly's gone mad. What are you doing? So there might be a little bit of bottle variation, but you'd expect there not to be a huge amount of bottle variation because the wine's under screw cap. So maybe it's the lighting in here. Anyway, it does. This wine has got a real grapefruit nose to it, Kay. I think it's really interesting that you've picked up on that. And I think with air, the nose is changing already. So I definitely got that mature cheddar, cheesy kind of note, Craig, that you're seeing first of all. And as it's Shell, that's fantastic. You were married by Elvis previously. So were you going back for a special anniversary, perhaps? Oh, that's really lovely. Yeah, Paul, you don't need to shout. So as the air's getting into the wine, sorry, I'm getting distracted by shouty dogs and thoughts of Shell and Andrew being married by Elvis, which is just a spectacle that I would have loved to see. I think this wine is sort of, once it's in the glass, it almost ages backwards with a little bit of air in it. And what I mean by that is that, first of all, you smell a real kind of mature cheddar, cheesy kind of note, biscuity notes coming through, the little bit of reduction, and then the lemon and the grapefruit come forward. And as the air gets into it, that citrus fruit really kind of sparks up and looks more and more vibrant. The reason I wanted to match this to fish and chips, and I think Anne's saying that it's working really well with her scallop pie. I think that's absolutely right. That it's got a nuttiness. It's got a sort of a pastry, savoury pastry, biscuity note to it, but it's also got that beautiful lemony grapefruit character that works so well with seafood. It does have a toasty, nutty note, Fiona, and that's a character that we almost always see in our Chardonnays, and we saw it a lot less in the 11. And I wonder whether, if the 11 had the chance to continue evolving, whether it would actually ever get that nutty character, because 11 is just a bit unusual. But normally a Moorooduc Estate Chardonnay of this sort of age will get that real kind of toasted cashew nut kind of richness to it, which I think is a really attractive character that I look for in mature Chardonnay. There's also a little bit of, there's a tiny bit of a sort of a herbal, sort of fennel-y kind of a note as well, which I think is a beautiful character that works well with more delicate seafood. And I think that's going to work really, really nicely with the food. I had to have a little sip. And on the palate, it's much broader and richer and rounder than the 2011 was. But as well as the texture being rounder and the acid's still there, but it's kind of a bit softer, a bit creamier. And you'll remember that I said, sorry, I just had a cat fly by, got stroked by a tail. Hello, Jack, how are you? It's got this wine, as compared to the 2011, has been through a full malolactic fermentation, which gives it that little bit of extra creaminess, a little bit more roundness, and softens the acid out a little bit. Whereas the 2011, we stopped quite a lot of the malos from going through because we just felt that would throw the acid level out. So the 2011 had that sort of appley note to it still from the malic acid, whereas this has got much more of that pure citrus with a slight creaminess, a sort of almost it's not quite yogurty, but it's certainly got that cheesy kind of creamy, cheesy kind of note to it. It is definitely cleaning up with air, Craig, and I think it's going to change a lot during our chat tonight. So strap yourselves in. It's also got, for me, it's got this little kind of slight lemon sherbet kind of a note to it on the nose, which I think is really, really appealing. Polly's getting her cashew nut fix now, so that's why she's gone quiet. Poor Dad has to just kind of keep feeding cashew nuts in her mouth to stop her from barking. So, Craig, you ask, when in the process do you make the malo decision? Usually it's just something that happens during the natural winemaking process that we use here at Moorooduc. And it's only in a year like 2011 when we know that it's been very unusual and that things have ripened quite differently from a normal year. 2011 is really the only year in the last 10, 15 years really that we've stopped malo in anything. In the early days, we stopped a little bit of malo in the Robinson Chardonnay because we worked out later that we were picking it a bit too ripe and we weren't getting enough natural tanginess and acidity to it to allow it to go through a full malo. So that changed. When did that change, Richard? The Robinson winemaking, was it 2015? 2014 was the first year that we started picking that significantly less ripe and letting it go through a full malo. And I think that the Robinson Chardonnay is a better wine as a result of that. This wine, in 2012, this Chardonnay will have McIntyre fruit in it and it will have Robinson fruit in it. More McIntyre fruit than Robinson. Usually it's about somewhere between sort of 60 to 80% McIntyre fruit and the rest is Robinson. So so the blend is has been fairly consistent for the estate Chardonnay over the last 13, 15 years since we started blending across the two vineyards. So Craig, to answer your question, usually we don't have to make a decision about malo because we just let it go through. But if we want to stop it, then we have to work quite hard to stop it early because often our malos will start going through sometimes even at the same time as the primary ferment, sometimes right after the primary ferment. So we need to make sure that the wine has done a full conversion of sugar to alcohol, and then we have to sulfur it quickly to stop it from going through malo. So that's when we would decide to stop the wine from going through malo. If we're not stopping it, which we don't in most years, then we just leave the wine unsulfured for 6 to 8 months after the ferment's finished, with the barrel topped up to the top, and those malos will go through naturally in the time that we leave the wine unsulfured. And it's only when we're getting the wine ready for bottling that we then give it a dose of sulfur to kill off any bugs that are in there and give it a little bit of preservative. We also will give the white wine a little filter to make sure there are no malo bugs left in there because we're not 100% sure that it's gone 100% through the malos, if that all makes sense. So I agree, Fiona, that there's some white blossom characters coming through as well now. It's a wine that did have a very floral character when it was younger, and that's faded a little bit, but the honey and the blossom comes up. Honey is a character that we see more from aging, so as tertiary characters in wine. So honey in a Chardonnay of this age is a very unsurprising aromatic to get, and I think we're getting it. But it's almost like an acacia blossom honey or something like that. It's really lovely, and the lemon and grapefruit are balancing that honey note really nicely. The cheesiness is kind of faded away, and it's much more fruit driven now. Although there is still that little bit of kind of croissant brioche pastry kind of note, sort of just singing underneath all of those lovely citrus fruit characters. There's less. What we don't see so much in this wine at this age is that white peach, white nectarine fruit character. That's kind of softened out. There's a little bit of fig coming through, but more, as I say, of the citrus fruit and the honey and those biscuity notes. So, Shell, whiting and very something fridge leftovers are going perfect with the wine. Excellent. I'm very glad that you've got some whiting. Have you? I have to ask, Shell, you guys must have just landed, because I swear you had a picture of you in Las Vegas or at a cowboy bar or something on the social media yesterday. Is that right? Did you just get in today? Anyway, welcome back. It's good to see you. This will be perfect for jet lag. Having a glass of 2012 Estate Chardonnay before you collapse in a heap. Just laid on the socials. Okay, fair enough. The other thing that I love about this wine is that it does have all those lovely fruity characters, but it's got this kind of little bitter twang to it right on the finish, which is always something that we see with these Chardonnays when they've developed a little bit of age. There's just it's almost like there's some citrus rind that's got in there. So it's not just lemon and grapefruit juice or flesh. It's that sort of bitter citrus oil and rind and a little bit of pith kind of character in there that's really nice. Fiona, the birds are quite loud. We've got quite a few birds out there. We've also got the doors open because Polly's louder when she barks, but the birds are carrying on. We've got two kookaburras out there who haven't started cackling at us. There's a baby that makes the most bizarre alien noises at us. But they're all waiting for the afternoon bird feeding, and Jill's been kind of popping out in between working on our snacks with the bird things. Oops! Oh yes, Cotty, that's a very good point. Oh, here come my snacks. I'm going to put it on there. Thanks, Pete. That's beautiful, Peter. Thank you. Okay, let me see if I can show them to you. Okay, Craig wants to know which is the favourite child. So that's really interesting, because I would have said to you before we did these two tastings, 2012 is always my favourite child. Look at that. Aren't I spoilt? Hang on, I'll just do that because I don't want to tip it all over my computer. But isn't that lovely? Little flathead tails, some crunchy potatoes, something dippy, and some lemon to squeeze on top. Very spoiled. So I will dip into those in a minute and let you know how they go with the wine. So Alison's voting for 2011. Paul and Rob are voting for 2012. I know it looks fab. I really like this. Mum and Peter have decided that as long as I don't make the food match too complicated, they're going to try and do it for us for Drinks with Kate on a regular basis, and that means that they then get to do the wine and food matching, and I get to talk about the wine and food matching in real time, which I think is a wonderful addition. I very much appreciate it because I never have time to cook the food. So yes, very spoilt. I am Craig. I reckon the 2012. I think the 11 is magnificent, and I think that the 11 was an incredible wine to come out of a really, what could have been an absolutely dreadful vintage. I always say to people that there really are no bad vintages, but there are some very difficult ones. And 2011 was up there with one of the most difficult vintages that we've ever had to deal with. Richard saying absolutely the most difficult vintage we've ever had to deal with was 2011. So to have a wine that not only is acceptable but is delicious at this stage of its evolution from such a difficult vintage is, I think, something that we are absolutely delighted about. But 2012 was a better vintage than 2011. It was an easier vintage. Everything happened much more regularly. We didn't have to jump around trying to fix problems all season, which we did in 2011. And the 2012, I think, sort of shows that. The 11's a bit narrow and a little bit, it's kind of awkward but interesting, and it's really yummy, and I'd be happy to drink it any day of the week. But 2012 is just absolutely singing. Jeremy's got his hands up for 2012 as well. I think that, and if you like the 11 better, I'm absolutely delighted, because there is no correct answer to that question. I think that's a very important thing to say. For me personally, I could have almost swung to the 11, but coming back to the 2012 today, I think 2012 has my heart. It's got this really interesting, not fruit, not floral, not cheese character that I'm finding really difficult to describe. It's almost flinty. It's almost like, I really can't think of what the description is. So I'm going to keep thinking about it and see if I can come up with it while talking. But let's keep talking. Okay. So Kate, you like both. They're both, thank you. They're both divine. Alison likes the 2011. I think that's awesome. There is a lushness to the 2012. Absolutely. Craig. And I think the thing about 2012 is that you're going to find a lot more delicious wines from different producers out there from 2012 than you are from 2011. So as far as rarity value is concerned, I think the 2011 beats the 2012 for rarity in its quality. But it might be a little bit of petrichor, Fiona. We have talked about petrichor before, but for anyone who isn't familiar with that term, it's such a beautiful word. It's a word that was actually invented by CSIRO scientists in Australia, and it's a word that describes the smell of rain hitting hot soil on a hot day. So if we'd had a rainstorm yesterday evening, there was a little bit of rain, but not really enough to give us a petrichor kind of a to the air. But when you have one of those summer storms and the rain hits the hot bitumen and the hot soil in the vineyard, you get this incredible kind of savory mineral kind of aroma coming up, which has been named petrichor. And I think that's definitely one of the characters that's coming up in this wine. It's sort of it's dust that's been hit by water on a hot day. I had to shove a bit of potato in my mouth because it was smelling and looking so delicious. Excuse me for a moment. What's Craig saying? I think having Chardonnay this old that's still holding up is rare enough, let alone the level we've dealt with for 2 weeks running. I think that's absolutely right, Craig. And it's one of those things that as Drinks with Kate matures and we continue this little adventure, at the winery, we're always looking out for bits and bobs that we can slip into boxes to have those little treats, because I think it's really important for us to look at the new releases as they're coming out, because that's also lots of fun. But to get an opportunity to drink these wines, rather than just sitting around, rather than having 3 dozen of these wines sitting around in our cellar with us forgetting that they're there, or maybe drinking a bottle every now and again and going, gosh, isn't that lovely? I'd much rather, if we've got enough bottles. Oh no, have you lost me, Catty? Is everyone else okay? Oh, good. I'm back. Good. Excellent. Thank goodness. Phew. Okay. Oh, Alison, yours is kind of lemony, limey. It sounds like your bottle has just really been a bit backward in maturation. Mine does have a little bit of it's still got a little bit of that kind of limey green to it, but it's obviously darker. It's looking darker on the screen for you than mine. But I don't think I wouldn't call this lemony limey. I'd probably call it, well, medium lemon at least in colour. But you do get a little bit of colour variation with these wines as they age. So is it tasting good though, Alison, or is it a little bit restrained? Maybe it just it's hard to say without tasting it. Certainly not corked. We know that because of the screw cap. So what was I talking about? So yes, Rarehead do have a Chardonnay named Petrichor, and Geraldine McFall is a very big fan of those kind of savoury flavours. Oh, here's Richard. Richard's come to say something. Hello, Richard.
Hi. I don't know whether this is relevant or not, but there was around about the time that this wine was bottled, there were some faulty bottles. So if someone has got a bottle which is much more developed than you would expect, it might be that there was a defect in the bottle rather than the screw cap.
I think Alison's bottle is less developed than everybody else's.
Oh, less developed.
Yeah, okay. It's more lemony in colour. She's saying it's quite restrained. So
okay, well, that's probably more to do with the temperature. It was
probably in the middle of the palate or something.
Yeah, but it's just I just wanted to say that every now and again, I mean, screw caps are not. Isn't a guarantee. It's not perfect, and there are things that can still go wrong. And it was a very small proportion that had this issue. But if that does come up, then don't blame the wine, blame
the seal, or the bottle.
Yeah.
Well, Jackie's saying that their wine is fine, but the cap was quite corroded on. So that may have been one of the faulty bottles because they had a tiny crack in the top of the bottle, which allowed a little bit of wine to get through to the screw cap, and it did corrode the screw cap. So I'm glad your wine is good. I'm sorry that you got a dodgy bottle. Before you go, Dad, you've been getting some comments about your T-shirt. Where's your T-shirt from?
Well, these are some friends of ours who have a relatively new wine business in Leongatha, and it's called Fleet.
Yep.
And lovely people, and we did make some help them with some wine, some fruit.
Yep.
And we swapped a T-shirt.
Swapped some T-shirts. They've got very cool T-shirts. They're into art and graphics and all sorts of things. Richard is a fun guy, Fiona. Fiona says it makes Richard look like a fun guy.
Well, I'm very keen on
fun guy with fun guy.
Particularly root-associated fun guy.
Exactly. Well, you've got mushrooms all over you, so that's particularly nice. Excellent. Good spot, guys. Fiona is on fire tonight. That reminds me, that's a very good segue to merch for Drinks with Kate this year. So I guess I'm kind of on I'm interested to know if people want. Oh, good. The ullage was surprisingly good, and the wine's perfect. Okay, good, Jackie. I'm glad to hear it. And Alison, I think your bottle must have come from right in the middle of the palate, and it hasn't been as maybe it's been a bit cooler than everything else. Shell is yes already. Yes. So no, but I have more questions for you, Shell. So do you want a T-shirt? Do you want another hoodie? What are we going to do? Do you want a cool cap? I hate caps, so I'm not really. You're going to have to push really hard if you want a cap. Craig wants caps. I knew someone would want caps, Craig. I look dreadful in a cap. Hoodie, T-shirt, beanie. Oh, maybe a beanie. Maybe a beanie for maybe a cap or a beanie. Kay wants a cap. It's 34 degrees here. T-shirts, tees, socks, T-shirts and caps are getting a lot of votes. How about we see if our merchandise guy a tattoo, Craig? We have to. Well, I think, okay, let's work on, a scarf would be nice as well, Cody, actually. Let's work on a few things. A wine bottle cooler. Jeff, that's what Peter said. Peter said a stubby holder, but a wine bottle holder. So you guys are nothing if not diverse in your desires. You'd get a tattoo, Megan. I don't have a tattoo. I'm not sure if I want my first tattoo to be a Drinks with Kate tattoo. A secret handshake, Sonia. I think that's nice. I like the idea of a wine cooler. All right. Sonia, I like that. So, an apron. Jill's suggesting an apron. We could do a tote bag. I think it sounds like we need to do lots of Drinks with Kate merch, essentially. A Moorooduc barrel cheese board from Jackie Little. That would be nice. An apron would be lovely. Okay, Kevin votes for a hat. Emily likes the wine cooler. Okay, what sort of hat, Kevin? Are you like a cap guy or are you a beanie guy? I like the idea of a beanie. I do like a beanie. So here we go. I got that little bit of hair eventually. So everything's always backwards. Sue votes for an apron. Okay, so I think from this little rough poll that we've just done, aprons are popular, T-shirts are popular, caps are popular. Kay wants cap for on your head, Richard. Richard likes a cap. I'm not a big fan of a cap. Jill hates caps, don't you, Jill? Jill hates caps. Of course, he's American, so obviously a baseball cap. Yes. Okay. Joan's volunteered to knit beanies for everyone. Excellent, Joan. That's what I was really like fishing for. Joan knitted beanies for everyone. Drinks with Kate. That would be amazing. We'll talk privately. Printed glasses, Sonia says. Drinks with Kate cat. Oh my God, you guys are out of control. All right, enough. All right, send me some emails if you really feel very, very strongly about anything that we've discussed here today. Hopefully I'll remember some of it. Aprons. Joan's going to knit everyone a beanie. Thank you, Joan. Some baseball caps and aprons, and maybe a T-shirt. Can I order a beanie now, please, says Jeff. So oversized jumper sweater. Okay, Shell. Maybe just like a wind cheater rather than a hoodie would be nice, like a sloppy Joe. That's what they call them in America. A Cooper with Moorooduc Estate corks. Thank you, Coddy. I think we've gone too far now with this one. So, how's the wine looking? I think it's looking pretty good. It's opening up. It's got a little bit of caramelization kind of coming to the fore now, which I think is really nice. But it's working really. I have to have a little bit more fish because I just squeezed lemon all over it and I haven't tasted the lemon. The bags that we did. Oh, the picnic bags were great. So we could definitely do some Drinks with Kate tote bags that we could maybe, leave it with me. I'm on it. Jill, what's the sauce that you've given me to dip in? Is that the Caesar salad dressing? So we had a bit of Caesar salad dressing from last week, and we're dipping the fish and the potatoes into the Caesar salad dressing. It's a really good combo. I'm so glad that you made it back for merch chat as well, Shell. Thank goodness, the important stuff, right? Sonia, you'd like to drink Drinks with Kate wine out of a Drinks with Kate glass. I think that sounds like a pretty sensible request as well. Linda's had one engraved for me. We could probably do them on a slightly more mass scale. It would have to be a Pinot glass, wouldn't it? Because I find myself bringing less and less diverse glasses to the Drinks with Kate internet. Craig, we're not allowed to talk about the internet because then that's when things go wrong. And things have been okay, sort of, tonight. We had one little dropout, but, talking about it, bringing its attention to us is a bad idea, okay? Shh. Moorooduc Estate tasting glasses with Drinks with Kate would be fab. Okay, Kay. Kay and Sonia, I have that on my list of things to research. I will work on all of the above. We have a new Drinks with Kate box out, which was released with your email. Craig, stop it. Stop. Behave. A new Drinks with Kate box out. which will be starting in 3 weeks. So if you're interstate, order it as soon as possible so we can get it off with Aussie Post. If you're not interstate and we have to send it post, then still get it in soon. I think the Drinks with Kate glasses are getting lots of votes. I think that's not a bad addition to the repertoire. A carrier pterodactyl. Okay. Love it. Speaking of Sydney, I'm going to be in Sydney next week. So I'm going to Sydney on Thursday morning, and I'm spending the day in the trade with our distributor. We have our last appointment at 4:00 in Surrey Hills. He has promised to get me back to my hotel in time to do Drinks with Kate. I thought about getting in contact with you, Craig, and seeing if I could come and do it at your place. But I think getting from Surrey Hills to you by 6:00 could be a little bit too stressful for me. So I think I will do it in my hotel room. But if you guys want to catch up with me for a drink next Thursday after Drinks with Kate, if you're in Sydney, send me an email. If Thursday is no good, or you just want to stay home after Drinks with Kate, which I totally understand, that's how a Drinks with Kate session should end, staying at home, having another glass of wine, not going anywhere. I am also in Sydney on next Friday doing the International Women's Day tasting at the Opera House. I'm pouring, what am I pouring? I'm pouring Moorooduc Estate Pinot Noir, I'm pouring Moorooduc Estate Pinot Gris, and I'm pouring Pinot Gris on skins. So I was only allowed 3 wines. If I can fit it in my bag, I might bring a little something to go under the table, but can't guarantee anything more than those 3 wines. But if you want to come along, I think it will be lots and lots of fun. Anyone going to McLaren Vale next week? Sonia, are you going to be in McLaren Vale next week? That sounds lovely. I do love McLaren Vale at this time of year. It's very lovely. Emily, you're back, but you're up there next week, but back on Wednesday night. Oh, well, we'll just pass. We'll be passing in the night. I have to eat my fish before it gets cold. But I'll keep on talking. Fiona, you're going to the Mornington Peninsula next week. Okay, cool. Sounds good. So I will be doing Drinks with Kate next week, barring any major disasters with networks and computers and being in a hotel room, all that kind of thing. So fingers crossed. We will do the 2015 Estate Pinot Noir next week, which is lots of fun. And I do want to, on 2015, I would like to draw your attention to the box. Flathead and Chips is so good with this wine. So yummy. Coriol for lunch solo. Good on you, Sonia. That'll be delicious. The next box has got lots of fun things in it. It's got the new Pinot Gris on skins, the 2023. It's got the new Devil Bean Creek Chardonnay that you won't get to buy or taste anywhere else because we made such tiny quantities. It's kind of come and gone, and the last 3, certainly, Craig, that sounds good. The Devil Bean Creek Chardonnay 2023 has come and gone to all our wholesalers. We had 3 cases left that we've kept for you guys. So we're going to be drinking that in the next box. It's delicious. The new Devil Bean Creek Pinot Noir, and we're going to do a really cool food and wine match. I still need to work out what that is, but it'll be awesome. We have the Rough Play Pinot 2021, which we drank the other day, and I know we've done it together before, but it has evolved into such a beautiful wine. I want to drink it with you guys again because I think that you will be blown away by how delicious it is now. And we've got a 2015. I don't think that's all. Oh, we've got a guest wine, Cumi River Chardonnay, the Village wine, which is delicious. It's a 2023. I'm excited to be sharing that with you because Cumi River is one of my favourite not Moorooduc producers from New Zealand. And a little kind of hook and something really special in the box for box 2 is a 2015 Pinot Noir from the Moorooduc McIntyre vineyard. So we're having the estate wine next week. at the end of the next box, we're going to be having the single vineyard McIntyre wine from 2015. 2015 was an absolutely classic, beautiful vintage. So I'm really excited to be drinking the Estate Pinot Noir with you next week. And we're going to work our way up through the next box. And the next box is going to be a little bit convoluted because I am in the UK for 2 weeks in April. And I think it's going to be certainly one of those weeks I'll be on a plane from Singapore to London when I should be doing Drinks with Kate with you guys. So that's going to be impossible. The other week might be possible. I'm going to look at my schedule and see what we can do. But we might have to have a couple of weeks off. So if anyone wants to do a little guest appearance, Drinks with Craig or Drinks with Kay or Drinks with somebody else while I'm away. Those have been really fun little tasting group. Might be Hunter Semi on time, Craig. You're right. So yeah, let's see how we go with that. If you want to host a tasting while I'm away, let me know. We'll talk. We'll get it sorted. That would be amazing. Otherwise, you're just going to have a glass of wine by yourselves on those Thursdays, which would be very sad. All right, team. I think this Chardonnay is still evolving, and the petrichor character's coming out. There's a really lovely kind of salted caramel brioche croissant kind of note coming off it now. Oh, Emily, you'll be in Mexico in April visiting your mezcal producer. How fantastic. Dog needs cashews. Sonia's saying someone needs to give Polly a cashew or some fish. She knows we're finishing up. I think she probably hasn't eaten her dinner either because she's being a brat at the moment. Has she? She's eaten her dinner. She's eaten her dinner and still barking for cashews. Dreadful. Emily and Kevin, you're going to Mexico in April visiting your mezcal producer. Well, we haven't managed to connect yet about getting that mezcal session happening. We have an opportunity the week after next, but I know that if people want to get hold of your mezcal, then probably the best way to buy it is through your website, unless you've got someone like Dan Murphy's who's retailing it now, which I don't think you do. So it might be better to leave the mezcal to the end of the box after this one, and we'll get that all sorted out. So, Kevin, I will send you an email. We'll talk because I really want to do your mezcal when you've got time to be on the chat and have a talk about it. If you wanted to come in and talk about it live on the screen, you'd also be very welcome to do that. We could have some fun with that. So. We do need to think of something to do in our week between box 1 and box 2. Let's have a think about that. I'll come up with some ideas for next week. You guys can come up with some ideas. And until then, I'm going to love you and leave you. Alison, your last sip was very lovely. It does need air, even a wine of this age. And I thought quite hard about whether we should decant or not. And I think not decanting is better, in my opinion. And it's very much a personal opinion thing, this whole to decant or not to decant. But I do think that the wine has breathed up really nicely and is looking better and better in the glass. I don't know how this wine is going to go in the future. I think it's in a pretty beautiful, mature state right now. Certainly doesn't need any more time. Not sure if it's going to do anything more exciting with more time. Doesn't matter. We've pretty much drunk the last of it tonight. So cheers to a beautiful, mature 2012 Moorooduc Estate Chardonnay. The evolution has been lots of fun. I will talk to you all soon. I'll see you from Sydney. As long as the box has no wines, 1 year apart because I opened the wrong Chardonnay. Oh no, Sonia, I'm so sorry. It can be confusing. The next box will be easier to navigate because it's got lots of different labels. Lovely to have you back, Shell and Andrew. We missed you. Loving this wine lots. Thanks, everyone. Take care. I'll see you from Sydney next week. All things being equal. Love you lots. Bye.